little trip down to Missouri. I live in Iowa, so I took a little trip down to Missouri because I found a HasLab Victory Saber on the Facebook Marketplace. The guy listed it for I think like 280, I'm pretty sure, but I was able to get him down to 260. He accepted that. Um, I don't have anything in the box. I took everything out, just lightly looked at everything. So I just wanted to do like one of those, what a lot of people do, live stream their first, I can't remember, first expectations, not expectations, but like first impressions there. Uh, Stream their impressions, and I don't really stream, and I have a ton of different projects just to, because I'm just doing it. I don't expect too many people to watch this because late at night on a Saturday, you'll probably be spending your time with your friends and family, not watching this guy. But projects, I like knife making and I love blacksmithing and things. So that typically takes up my time outside of YouTube and work. So that's why I don't really do a lot of like Legos, Bionicle, and especially Gunpla. Just takes Gunpla takes longer. Obviously, it takes multiple hours to build bigger kits, especially if they're not high grades. Real grades are pretty easy. Um, but that's why I just haven't just committed to a bigger kit to stream. So I just want to do a little stream just to just play around with this toy, and just talk about some things, but mainly experience this toy, because I missed out on it. 2 years. No, it was 4 years ago because this came out in 22. I'm pretty sure. But the toys are in front of me, and then I have Leo Kaiser, and Deathsaurus because Deathsaurus is out of his case. You can see over there. Um, so you can compare um, what to think about them. Like I said, I just transformed these guys, so let's reach over and get Victory Leo. I completely forgot how small these toys were, and I'm not going to talk about the little Micromasters because I don't really care. Um, but Victory Leo, I forgot how small these toys were. I thought they were bigger than this. I couldn't remember, especially after owning the original one of this. He is tiny compared to the original. The original is like twice the size, like 70% bigger. Not, yeah, probably like 70% bigger than this guy. 70 to, like 90% bigger than this guy. But that does not take away from this toy. I still really do like it. The one thing that I do kind of think is really weird is the mane. You flip the head up and you flip out these main pieces so it can be more flared out. I kind of think that's a little pointless because you can see it and then you have those gaps. Maybe that's for, I think that's for when he's transformed and that's his head. I'm not super duper certain. Um, but either way, I kind of think it's a little bit pointless, but that's that's not here nor there. That's just personal. Um, and if I'm doing whatever, with I'm completely new to this whole streaming stuff. I really don't know any of it. Like I said, I think I looked at the last stream that I did. It was like 5 months ago. But back to this, that really doesn't matter. Um, he does. I do really like it. The legs, I'm not a super big fan of. The way they transform, might as well just transform them because got nothing else to do. um, the I just I know the sliders aren't great on the original. They're gonna break down over time and yada yada yada. The gun I do wish was bigger. I love how absurdly large the original is, and yeah, this is supposed to scale with him, but I just wish it was bigger. That's just me in general. When I get to comparing the toys, um, these guys are really small in my opinion. But this guy, he works really almost identical to the original toy. Um, I do like this how it actually spins through the actual arm and then you rotate the fist around. I really do like that. That's really neat. Or you don't have to because the way the elbows and everything are. Um, I really do like that. That's really cool because mine on the original they just go up under the cuff, so the leg just hangs out underneath of it. It doesn't actually form into the arm, and mine are getting really loose, like the little like detents that hold it in. Um, so I really do like this instead of just like going up under and tabbing underneath the arm. I really think that's a good choice because this is probably the best. best for like longevity. The legs, I'm not a huge fan of these rear legs. Just I like the way the original did it. Um, and obviously, just like the original toy, and a lot of toys like this, like God Bomber, and a lot of the toys from the Brave series, is that this toy will always be an afterthought. Sorry, it's super bright. I don't know how to adjust like the way the camera sees this. Um, but these guys, they'll always be a bit of an afterthought. But the way the legs work, I'll try to show it, is there's these tabs, and then there's some tabs back here, and they go into some slots. I'll show it off before I close the legs up. But you really have to kind of fiddle with it to get this closer. The tabs that are back here, not these ones up here, the ones that are back here. Like what I kind of did was I kept the legs split, and I will give this guy a full review. Um, that's obviously probably gonna be way shorter than this because I didn't even do the combination, so I gotta figure all that out. But I will do a video on this or like a short or something over each of them. But I kind of found it, you do like this sort of half step in between and then rock the two together. Kind of like that. I know I didn't show that off very well, but just leave it like half transformed and then I sort of like rocked it in. That's not a very good explanation. Um, but that's what helped me because if you just put it like transform this all the way in, it just doesn't want to go in. I don't know why. And now that front tab actually locks everything together. I do like that they use that like combiner war style joint. I just wish they didn't use this weird two tab mechanism. I think they should have just kept it plain like the Combiner Wars toys and just had the main tab that's always up here lock it to like the thigh or something like that, like the back of the knee. I think that would have been better. Um, Not better, but it would have been less annoying, at least to me, being new to the mold and everything. The head just as simple as the original. I did find this out about this is I don't know why the front of the mouth can come off. Maybe this is for something that I just don't know about, but that's kind of weird. I do like, well, no. I was gonna say I do like that the mouth can open, but the mouth can open on the original one. I completely forgot about that. Then obviously just flip the faceplate up and doesn't really wanna there. I just turned the head to the side. I did notice this is that the little saber tooth, at least on this side, really doesn't like to stay in. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, the original one they're pinned in these little saber teeth, and I definitely do like that. And obviously, these would be very difficult to be pinned in because they're so teeny tiny. But it would have been better if see it just already wanted to come out. Just in my personal opinion, I would have preferred them to be like a friction hinge on top and the bottom. I don't know how they would go about doing that, or maybe this top mouthpiece supposed to keep them in, and mine just wasn't like this one wasn't glued or something. I don't know. Um, then I almost forgot about this because I just barely discovered it when I was transforming him. Is that this white piece folds back, and this is how the big gun attaches. It uses this clip and port to go over this little square peg to clip around, and then it goes over and engages on that other peg. But you just that little white panel. And like my G1, I'm going to keep the guns on the back. I personally prefer the gray guns of the original. They're gray, right? Yeah, they're gray. I just personally prefer that. You know, since the wings are white, I think that would have added some contrast, but that's just my opinion, and it probably doesn't mean a lot. The thighs, I don't know if this is the right joint or not, if this is actually the in and out movement. I want to say it's not, but no, it's not. It's here. It's this ratcheted part in there. Um, but that it would be kind of funny if they just left it like that. um, and then obviously the gun just goes on his hip like that. And yeah, I really like Victor Ulio. I've always been a fan of Victor Ulio. Like I said in the G1 Victory Leo review. I don't think too many people watch that, but it's okay. Just a timeless design, timeless look. Love, just really like him. He does have a little bit of like chrome, messed up, but it's okay because it's okay. I got it for a really good deal, and the guy specified that. But I really like this guy. Just a ton of fun. I don't know how to do his like fight mode, base mode, or whatever, so I'm not even gonna mess with that. And now the thing, whoa, really white. Star Saber, and I don't own any sort of Star Sabers. I don't own the Masterpiece. I don't own the G1. I don't own the Robot Masters. Don't own any version of Star Saber. So this is my first Star Saber. Not even the Energon. I'm Energon and Armada Star Sabers, like the actual sword. I don't even own them. So this is the very first Star Saber in general that I own. And yeah, the V Star plus Saber himself does look pretty nice. I do like it. There you can see it a little bit better. Does look really, really nice. The antenna for Star Saber are really, really loose. I don't know why, but he does look really nice. Love the blue all over him. I don't know how all the different pieces store, like his shield, the his gun, or the sword, because the sword doesn't have a scabbard in there like the G1 or the Masterpiece. It's just has to sit there or go underneath a wing somewhere. But yeah, so just take Saber out really quick so we can take a look at him. Undo these, and then he should just pull out, I think. Because I just transformed him from robot to this and never really messed with him. So I think he should just come out there. So here's Saber, his cute little plane mode. Get him all transformed, and there he is. Nice, cute little plane. He is really small. Like I said about all of them, he is really small. The cockpit I can't quite open with my hands. Well, unless I take the sword out, and I'll leave it like this. And then we can open this up, open the cockpit up, and reveal his teeny tiny little Brainmaster. I don't know if this Brainmaster is smaller or bigger than the Prime that came with the ROTF Stratosphere. I have Stratosphere, and I lost my little Prime years ago. I was super young when I lost that. So I have no clue how small this is, but I think that toy, that Prime, was bigger than that. Was bigger than this little guy. But he is itty bitty, teeny tiny little thing. Love the attention to detail on it because it's so precisely molded, so precisely painted. It's kind of pointless, but it is really, really cool. And he actually does function as a Brainmaster for this. But just close that up. Super duper simple. Late G1 type stuff, just like Victory Leo. Hold the wings up. All the wings. Undo the arms. Shift up the shoulders. Flip out the fists. Same thing over here. Like so. His arms are all done. And his legs are very, very Combiner Wars-esque. Feet just flip out. Super simple. But legs are very Combiner Wars-esque. Split them open like so. And instead of folding out from the top, it folds out from the side, which I do like that. It obviously doesn't mean that much, but I do like that little bit of inventiveness because I do know I talked pretty negatively on this toy in my original Why I Dislike HasLab, and before I get too into that, just open that up, and now we can flip out the shell or the helmet, and now we can take the Brainmaster, flip up the head, or the face more other. And now we can put him in here, and there is cute little Saber. And yeah, I don't like the fact that he's this small, but he is kind of adorable, especially the little Brain Master. But back to like what I was saying is, I can't remember how this guy Saber transforms on the original Masterpiece, but I talked very negatively on this set. And I kind of feel that from my very, very short impression of this toy. Um, he retreads a lot of the same ground that the original toy and the Masterpiece does. Doesn't really change a lot, especially the V Star, and there's not a lot of room to change that. I will give them that, especially with Star Saber. Um, Victor Leo, I could see how they could maybe change a couple of things. Because definitely after owning the original now, you really just gave the original toy just, I mean, yeah, you just shrunk the original toy down and gave him a little bit more articulation, because I don't think he even has a waist swivel because of his, yeah, because he has to split down the middle. He doesn't get a waist swivel. So really he just gave him knees and hips, and that was really it, because he had shoulder and elbow articulation, and yeah, he has a wrist and a head swivel, but other than that, it's really almost exactly the same as the original. Um, Same thing with this guy. I Like I said, I don't remember how the Masterpiece transforms. Um, but once again, just sort of treading the same ground. And I'll get more into that when I get comparing. Well, let's just compare it now. So one of my biggest things, as I've been saying this entire time, is I wish they were bigger, because Saber is supposed to be about the same height as the breast force. Uh, I have the others combined in a Leo Kaiser, so I'm just using Death Cobra because he's the same height. But he should be about the same height. He should, at the very least, when it comes to height, be probably about there. Should be up to the shoulder, not to like the elbow. I know the whole discourse, toys get smaller, they use scale as an excuse. I get that. But this is the one time that I'm going to defend that, because I'll say it probably as long as HasLab is around, is this toy commands a higher price for what it is. I think, I can't quite remember, I think this set came out for $200 to $250. Correct me if I'm wrong. Whoever might watch this, probably no one, but I'm pretty sure it came out for that price. It was no less than 200. Deathsaurus, if I remember correctly, was 250, and obviously the new Leo Kaiser, I think, was 250 or 300. 200, let's just say 275. Split the difference. 275, I know that wasn't it, but these toys command a higher price, or a higher standard, in my opinion. There's less of them available. There's only a certain number, not even less. There's a certain number of them available. Um, Only a certain number made, and they're high. They may be part of the Legacy or War for Cybertron trilogy. I think this is what it is. I'm not super certain. Whichever one that Victory Saber was attached to, they're still, even though they're mainline, they really aren't. They're still higher tier toys, kind of not quite like Masterpiece, but sort of the bridge between mainline and Masterpiece in my eyes, with their chrome, with the hype behind them. This guy really doesn't have a ton of accessories, more just what the toys come with individually, and then like a stand, which I do like. I am not a fan, if anyone who might watch this remembers my Deathsaurus video, is I'm just not a fan of a ton of accessories. The only toy he's not up there, because I have to put Deathsaurus back, he's over here next to my Fort Max, is the Soul Chigogan Gurren Lagann. He doesn't have a ton of accessories, but the amount of accessories I like. It's not a ton, it's not none, and I feel like I actually want to display it and play with him with all of them. When Deathsaurus, I really don't feel motivated to do that. But nevertheless, I wish these toys were bigger just to scale a tiny bit more, because Star Saber, the combined version, which we might as well get into because it'll be a 20-hour long video if I don't start now. And so what I'm going to do is just transform him. I'll lower the camera just a touch so I don't end up keeping him too low while I'm transforming him. But I want, because Star Saber should scale without Victory Leo, to my knowledge, he should be about the same height as Deathsaurus, around, maybe a little bit shorter from the anime. And I might be wrong, might be my brain just mixing some things up, but to my knowledge, that, oh, he has an ab crunch. Didn't know that. Probably for transformation, but is really nice. But as Star Saber, he should somewhat scale decently with Deathsaurus and Leo Kaiser without the full combination. Same for Leo Kaiser. He should be able to scale roughly the same height, maybe a little bit shorter than Deathsaurus and Leo Kaiser, but they're significantly undersized. I'll compare Leo Kaiser and Deathsaurus to these two when I get them all, when I get him all done. That's why when I went to BotCon, I really wasn't planning on getting this toy, the HasLab. I was, because I knew people would want more than what I wanted to pay for it. I think that's it. I think that's all with him. So move on to the V-Star, which V-Star doesn't change. It's just this. So there's no more to show off. And this guy is pretty simple, and I'll just transform it. But I was looking for a Masterpiece. I've always wanted the Masterpiece Star Saber. I fell in love with it years ago watching MGo's video of it. Typical. There's another thing I really wish they just took from the Masterpiece, is the Masterpiece has an armature that connects the helmet, the Star Saber helmet, to the V-Star. And you can disconnect that so you can get more head articulation, but this just comes off. Wish they had that. It would be really small, really delicate. I understand, but I personally wish it was there. Just one of those luxuries of getting, assuming that. But I've always wanted that, and after seeing how Masterpiece God Jinrai scaled pretty well with Deathsaurus and Leo Kaiser, I really wanted to get my hands on a Masterpiece Star Saber, because I knew he would probably scale better. The Saber would probably be closer to this size, and then Star Saber fully built up would probably be closer to Leo Kaiser and Deathsaurus. And then I did see I think KFC Simba. I think that's the third party. Why isn't that working? The third party Victory Leo. I did see one there, but I just figured, why would I buy that when I don't even have a Star Saber? Because I've already done that once with the G1. But that's why I really wanted to find a Masterpiece Star Saber. Plus, I've always wanted one for a really long time, and I really want to get my hands on one. Maybe not this year. Hopefully, it'd be awesome if I could. But people on eBay and the aftermarket still want a ton of money for a toy that, frankly, people didn't like when it came out and still don't like, which is really confusing to me. Why people still want like $250 for the toy. But nevertheless, those are the two reasons why I wasn't necessarily hunting for this. But when I found it on the marketplace, I was like, I'm not going to find a better deal to have this toy. So I just jumped on it and bought it, because I knew I would never find one for even $280, let alone the $260 that I gave for mine. I knew I wouldn't be able to find one for a better price. But I just wish this toy was a bit bigger. I know I don't like that whole scale thing. I'd rather have a big toy that doesn't scale with anything, that's just fun and cool and is somewhat animation accurate. Like I would say SS86 Commander class Ultra Magnus is a pretty good example. Even comparing him to the Commander class Prime, he really doesn't scale with anything. He's just too big. He's big enough. He's not too big like Skyfire or Jetfire, however you want to say it. Can't get his hands out. Whatever you want to say, he's not that enormous. But in my opinion, he's too big to scale. Ultra Magnus was never that size in the cartoon. He was never that big, in my opinion and my recollection of it all. But I still love the toy. I love that it's so dense. It's probably one of the densest mainline toys ever. Of course, it has one of the biggest budgets and whatnot. But I just personally would rather do that. But in this case, like I said, this toy practically costs $100 by itself. Shouldn't it feel kind of like him back there? And heck, why not? Let's just compare it. He's about the same size. But nevertheless, I just feel like these toys, all the HasLab toys need to be held to a higher standard than, it's something we won't ever get. Same thing with, like Missing Link. It's something we'll never get. Okay, and we should have higher standards for that. Missing Link is pretty good if you guys want to watch or did watch or haven't watched my video on Missing Link Ultra Magnus. I'm a little bit iffy on it. I didn't spend a whole lot of time with it. I do really like it. It's a lot of fun. I love the idea and the concepts behind it. But he's just more of a novelty rather than being something awesome, in my opinion. But I'm not taking away from what he does and what he does right. So there he is. He does. Star Saber actually does stay like this, have his saber head out. I think a decent bit in the anime, but we're gonna put the actual Star Saber helmet on. And Star Saber, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, they actually did get a Gundam designer to design Star Saber, and you can really, really tell. You can tell that a Gundam designer made this. The sword is really kind of interesting. You extend the handle, and that little blue piece goes with it. And now, I'm pretty sure you just insert the sword like so. Maybe you have to flip it around. I didn't put the sword together when I first got this guy out because I didn't want to spoil there. I think that's how it's supposed to go. Spoil doing this in front of you guys. So there, maybe not. Oh, it pushed it out. There. So there's the sword. I always remembered it being parallel to the sides of this, not perpendicular, but I don't really care. Love a robot with a sword. I love, like I said, I make swords, I make knives, so I just like swords in general. They're just really cool. And this is no slouch. And then, obviously, his shield. Just put that in his hand. And there he is. All armed to the teeth. So now, he's taller than him. He's taller than... Here, I'll put his shield down. He's taller than the individual Lio Kaiser components. But... he's a little bit small compared to regular Lio Kaiser. Because, like I said, he should be kind of about here-ish. Like bicep to shoulder level, I'm pretty sure. And he barely scrapes the elbow. There's nothing wrong with this toy, or at least nothing wrong with this scale. But he just seems a little small. And then Deathsaurus, yeah, he should be about shoulder height, I'm pretty sure, with Deathsaurus, but I don't know. I just keep coming back to the same stuff when it comes to these HasLab toys. I don't know if I did the sword right, but When we combine him, he won't be able to hold it anyways. Well, we'll just take it out. Um, I just keep coming back to the same stuff. Like, one of my favorite features of the original toy and the masterpiece is that he had a scabbard in his back to where he had the sword and it would store on his back. Maybe there is a feature somewhere on this that I just don't know about, but it actually went inside. It didn't tab on the side or whatever, and I loved that feature, at least on the masterpiece. I'm not super certain if it was on the original. I think it was, but I don't know. That was one of my favorite features about the original toy. And yeah, I'm not taking away from these guys. These guys are really good on their own. They're really fun. They're really fairly solid. They are a little bit light. They're not as dense as a regular commander, but I still really do like them. They have articulation. They're really nice, and they definitely fit into the War for Cybertron aesthetic with all their greeblings and molding and whatnot. And they really are nice. I would say I lean a little bit closer to Star Saber being a better toy. You like Star Saber is, you get two toys in one, and technically three if you count the armor, which I really do like. I the love this style of robot. Love masterpiece, not masterpiece. Ultra Magnus is in the same vein with the inner robot, sort of, not really. Love, huge fan of Power Master Optimus Prime slash Super Genrai. Love Star Saber. Love all of the Brave toys. This style of combination is just really fun to me. I really do like it. So let's just get started into Victory Saber. And I have not done this, so this will probably take a little bit of fussing around. But the only thing I do know that we'll probably have to do is fold up his feet. Other than that, we probably shouldn't have to do anything with Star Saber because that's really all he does is just fold his feet up. So yeah, but enough complaining about this guy when he really hasn't done anything wrong. But one of the reasons why I wanted to live stream is I wanted to talk about, I don't know what that does. We'll just leave it like this. I want to talk about some shows I've been watching. My brother, if you don't know, I'm pretty sure I said it in the video. He got me into watching Gurren Lagann. And then my brother is a huge, huge fan of Attack on Titan. He's a huge fan of Attack on Titan there. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't even know how the original one works. Probably can figure the legs out. This is probably going to be pretty simple. Or feet extenders, not legs. Huge fan of Attack on Titan. Absolutely loves it. And he told me to watch it. I watched the first 3 episodes while I was at AIT in Virginia. And I watched the first 3 episodes. And if anyone watches this stream and dang it, I can't think. Anyone watches this stream, first 10 episodes, I'm not a huge fan of. They're not amazing. First 8-ish, up until when they, spoilers for, I would say an old anime when the first season's oldish. But the new season is 3 years old. Season 4 is 3 years old, so I won't get too deep into it. But once they start battling to take Tross back, that's when the show ramps up. That's when it gets amazing. There, got one done. That's when it gets good. That's when it starts getting amazing. Episode 13, I really like it. But first episode, in my opinion alone, and after talking about this, after talking about Leo Kaiser and Deathsaurus, this whole HasLab thing, my opinion is my opinion, and people probably don't agree with me. But first episode, cliche. Once again, I'm just gonna say it. Eren Yeager, the main character, his mom gets eaten. I saw that coming from a mile away. I typically don't do that. I don't typically sit back and be like trying to critique and do whatever, assume what's going to happen. I just don't. I let the story take me. Plus, I'm not that smart. I'm a bit of an idiot when it comes to that. I'm like, I didn't see that coming from a mile away. Even though, like, it could be the most obvious thing ever. I'm like, oh, I didn't see that happening. But that I really did. I was like, dude, is the Titan's gonna eat his mom, and he's gonna be all mad. But the rest of the show is amazing. I really do like it. And I've really been before I watched that, I watched Kill la Kill by Studio Trigger. The same people. They're basically the same people that made Gurren Lagann. I think the people that made Gurren Lagann went on to found Studio Trigger, and then they made Kill la Kill, or maybe like one other anime before Kill la Kill, and that was like their first anime, like alone as the studio. Kill la Kill, it's bonkers, it's crazy, it's not quite to the same level of pure absurdity and pure like iceberg type fandomness and lore as like Attack on Titan and Evangelion, but for a plot as wacky and as crazy and as weird as Kill la Kill's is, it's close. It's close, not like lore wise, but absurdity. Like angels, titans, like the story of the titans, how they're not gonna say, but the origins of the titans in Attack on Titan, the origins of the Evas and the angels, and the third, fourth, however many impacts in Evangelion. That absurdity level, it's close. In my personal opinion, it's close in that same level of craziness. But I really like it. It's not very long. It's like 24 episodes. There's a hidden direct to like DVD, direct to DVD episode, but you can't. It's not on Crunchyroll, so I didn't watch it. I will say a lot of lewd, nudity, not nudity, but like a lot of revealingness, given the way the story is given, a lot of all that. So that part isn't for the faint of heart. It for what it's worth, it's fairly bloody. You know, like the mom gets stabbed, gets like put on a crucifix and whatnot. Blood everywhere. She gets her head cut off at one point, but I won't reveal that much. But and Attack on Titan is just as bloody, very very gory for like obviously like a show. Like it doesn't compare to like something like Saving Private Ryan or like All Quiet on the Western Front, like a war movie. It doesn't really compare to that in my opinion. But for an animated show, it's pretty bloody, pretty gory. I haven't seen Invincible, but I know that's pretty bloody and gory. But nevertheless, I watch both those shows, really love them. But I've been tossing around in my mind, especially with Attack on Titan, tossing around the idea of getting my hands on getting into some Figma. I've thought about it. Typically, my rule with buying things is if it's not a robot, with a lot of things, if it's a toy, if it's a movie, if it's a show, if it's a lot of things, if it's not a robot, I ain't buying it. Or I'm not watching it, I'm not engaging with it. And yeah, that's kind of narrow-minded. But after witnessing the peak that is Attack on Titan and the amazing character that is Captain Levi, kind of tossed around the idea of getting my hands on the Figma Captain Levi. And I wish really badly that there was a Figma of Hanji Zoe, the girl with the glasses. She's the scientist into the Titans and whatnot. Figured it out. Not too complex. I don't know if you're supposed to leave the lion legs like that or not. But yeah, there he is. We'll give him his shield again. And then we'll put the big gun in his hands. But I've tossed around the idea in my head. I don't love Kill la Kill enough, and plus I don't really want to have to have a Ryuku Matoi uh, Figma in my collection. I just don't think I could commit that hard to the design. I like the design. Actually, one of my weld jacket at work, I sewed it up because I got a bunch of holes in it, and I actually sewed Senkens's eye into it, like weave type stuff. But I like it. But I don't think I can commit that heavy to a $50 toy that's this big and is an anime girl wearing like half her clothes. I don't think I could do that. Captain Levi, I think I could, but the only ones I've seen on eBay are like $100. I don't think I could do that. Have to toss it around in my head, but here he is. And this is impressive. I really do like this. Like I said, I'm a sucker. Like I literally just said, if it's not a robot, I am buying. If it's not a robot, I don't watch it. I don't buy it. I don't engage with it. This is the reason why, because this is awesome. Sorry about the whole lighting and everything, but this is pretty cool. I didn't show it off, and you might not be able to see it. There's like a smudge kind of on this side of the chrome. You can kind of see those like ripples and ridges in it. I don't really care. This guy was rife. Both these toys was rife with scratches and defects with the chrome. I really didn't care. It's whatever. But here he is compared to Deathsaurus, and I still think he should be taller. He should be about here now, here-ish, on Deathsaurus with his full combination. Then with Leo Kaiser, once again, he should be about here, I think, personally, for scale. And hopefully the Masterpiece and the KFC Simba, I'm pretty sure that's his name, the third-party name, when or if I get those, they will scale better with these toys. But it's still nice to have this. It's still really nice to have this. Because if this guy didn't show up, I probably would never have pulled the trigger on this. I could spend $400 for what this toy's worth a lot better on a lot better toys, on a lot rarer toys, or even just in general. I could spend that money better. But definitely for what you paid for it back in the day, for backing it, this is a pretty good deal. I really do like it, especially the combination. Individually, they're okay. Like a lot of these toys are okay. I think the only exception to this is, personally, the only exception is Jay Decker and Duke Fire. You can see Duke Fire's feet poking up over there. Personally, that's the only one where both components are equally as good as the combination. But most of the time, typically one suffers or they both suffer, but then they are amazing when they get put together. And this toy definitely gives off that. He is a little rickety, a little light in my opinion, especially compared to Deathsaurus. Leo Kaiser was a lot more expensive than him. I know that for a fact. And even Commander Class Ultra Magnus. He is a little rickety, a little loose, a little, whatever, but it's okay. I'm not going to throw a fit about it, or at least not yet. Maybe when it comes to my review, spending a bit more time with it, maybe I might gain a bit more hatred to it, but I think I'm going to warm up to it a bit more because he isn't that bad. I also do not own, or it would be really cool to experience the Robot Masters version. Robot Masters, Victory Saber, I know he's probably going to be like this tall. They're not big toys, but it would be a really cool comparison between this toy and the Robot Masters, in my opinion. But yeah, I really do like it. I love the fact that I got it for this price. I don't think I would pay $300 for it. That's awfully steep. it's really only worth what it was. Not 400, definitely not 450. I think that's 450. I might have seen one for like 500 that was sealed. But 400, 450 is absurd for this toy. It's just not worth it. It's not that good. Not that big. Because that's, in my mind, as much as I love all this stuff, I have to rationalize it still. When I was at BotCon and I saw a Leo Kaiser for $1,200, as much as I want one, I had to say no. Even bottom end, I saw one for 650. I had to say no. I can't justify spending that much money on something that's only this big. I I can't justify that. Even I saw a Grand Maximus for $2,500 and then another one for 3 grand. I know it's a big toy. I know it's an exclusive. I know they're hard to find, but I could buy I could buy a crappy car for that. I could buy a lot of things with $3,000. That's sort of how my brain has to work. I know I love this stuff. I know it's my hobby. I know I get one chance sometimes to get things, but sometimes I just have to let my real world brain, you know, come into effect. Maybe that's because before I had a job, and the toys I bought were just the ones I wanted, just the things I wanted, and the things I did want that were too expensive I had to pass on. Maybe it's just that cheapskateness that's been baked into me from my parents. Maybe that's because I never had money. I don't know. I have to rationalize things. Like if it's a big toy, that's like a Titan, $200 for a Titan, a big Titan. I'm not talking. I know people like the new Studio Series Grimlock, but $200 for that toy when it's not that tall. I get it. I think it's dense. I know it's solid, but that's an awful lot of money for a toy that's, no bigger than G1 Fort Max. Like G1 Fort Max, still for $400, amazing toy. I'll justify that probably till the day I die. I'd pay max 1,000 for a Japanese Fort Max, like a Takara Fort Max. I'd pay 1,000 to $1,200 for a Brave Max, and I'd pay 1,500 for a Grand Maximus in good condition with most of his pieces. But I wouldn't pay any more than that. That's a ton of money, an absurd amount of money. Um, any more than that, I can't justify it. I just cannot. It's so much money um, that it's it's starting to get into like real world stuff. Um, but I really do like this toy. I got, I couldn't justify this for $400. It's just not that great. Um, but he's still really good. I I just wish he was better. I wish he was bigger, but when it comes to this whole HasLab thing, all I do is wish, 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 and I don't know very many people are like me and wish that this was better. Wish that it was bigger. Wish that it was nicer. Wish that it, scaled better. Um, or maybe I'm just making all this up and they're supposed to be like this. Maybe they're supposed to scale like this. I don't know. Nevertheless, I like it. I still do like it. I like having it. Um, but for what he goes for, it's just really tough to say. I don't know if I would recommend it. It's just not perfect. Um, and same thing, since we're on the topic of cost, just like I was saying, the whole Figma thing, Figmas I knew were expensive toys, expensive figures, and I really don't think I can pull the trigger on them yet. I don't think I can spend $100 on an action figure that's only like 4 or 5 inches tall, even if it is Captain Levi, one of the greatest, maybe not greatest characters of all time, but one of them, one of the greatest characters of all time. I'm gonna have to want it really badly. Um, Kind of like this, but not really like this, because this was more of like, oh, an opportunity opened up, I'm gonna take it. Um, when if this was the masterpiece, if I could have spent $400 on the masterpiece with the KFC Simba, the Victory Leo, I would have jumped in and paid 400 for it because it probably would have been a better toy or a better figure, would have been what I wanted a bit more. But still, I'm not taking away from what this toy does, what it wants to do, and what it was sort of supposed to do. I don't even know if Hasbro was looking that far in advance to have this toy be as big as it was, or Leo Kaiser be as big as he was. I don't know if they were or not. I don't know if they said it on their live streams or whatnot, but nevertheless, he's here. I like it, and it's just fun to have. But yeah, the other stuff that's in the box, I'm not too concerned about. The stand, it is a nice stand. I really like how it has the Victory logo on it. Love the beautiful blue on it. The blast effects, same blast effects we've had since 2018 with Jetfire. So they're just whatever. But like I said, I really do like the amount of accessories with this guy, because really the only accessories that he doesn't have in his hand right now is the sword, his Star Saber's little gun, and the hilt of the sword. Other than that, he's holding everything minus the blast effects and the stand in the box. When Deathsaurus comes with all the stuff that goes up into his throne, and I wish he could have been like $20 to $30 cheaper and just had the big gun, his sword, and his breast animals. And for the most part, Leo Kaiser was pretty good. I like the amount of accessories he came with. The electromagnetic nunchaku, all the different components for that, like that. The stand, I haven't even messed with the stand on Leo Kaiser. Go figure, didn't mess with it really at all with him either yet. But yeah, just another problem. I don't know where I want to put him, because I've always kept my Deathsaurus in that plastic case right there. It's a clear plastic, like acrylic case. I don't know, and I don't know why my brain just blanked. Leo Kaiser is on my gold shelves with just a couple toys, because I don't have. I think I might have to rearrange some stuff. Get my higher end toys with their higher end toys. You know, have to rearrange the top shelf of those gold shelves again. But I don't know what I want to do with these guys yet, because I have all three of these toys of the HasLab Victory toys, but I don't know what I want to do with them. If I buy more acrylic stands, which I'm not gonna. I hate that one. It's stupid. I'm the only reason why I only keep it around is that I had Deathsaurus at the time that I had it, and now it is an amazing place to have my Solchagok and Gurren Lagann sit on, which I absolutely love. It's like a pillar on top of my gun cabinet. I love having my Solchagok and Gurren Lagann on top of it. I really do like that. But I just don't know what I want to do with them yet, because I'm not gonna leave that empty. I don't really have a toy that really I want to put in there. I really don't. I just don't know. There's not a toy good enough to fit in there. I'm not gonna leave it blank, and then I'll have to dig the Deathsaurus box out to put his throne and everything in, and I really don't want to do that because it's behind that shelf, that white shelf. I really do not want to do that. I went through, when I was looking for the pieces for the standard Fire J Decker, the chest pieces and everything, like the chest crest for Fire J Decker is a separate piece. I searched all over, up and down, looked through all the boxes in there, looked through all the boxes underneath those white shelves, those white metal shelves, and all the boxes just all the boxes everywhere. And in my stupidity, the boxes behind Fort Max's box, that Titans Return Fort Max box, I put the standard Fire J Decker box inside of the deluxe J Decker box, I looked past it like 3 times when I looked down there, and then it finally hit me. I finally realized that I put that in there. I had tore all those boxes out, looked through this little dresser that I have my Fort Max sitting on, looked through all those boxes, looked through this drawer underneath my bed, looked through all those boxes, and I can't believe I did that. And after doing that, I don't want to do it again because until I move out of this place, I do not want to get another box out because I hoard the boxes. I got rid of a bunch of boxes back during the start of Legacy. It was like Laser Prime, Wild Rider, a lot of those toys that really got discounted a lot. And I wasn't a fan of the boxes. They're like okay, like they're good, but not good enough for me to keep. But then I felt bad because I'm just that kind of guy, 6'7". I'm just that kind of guy. I like to keep the boxes. I know that's probably like some hoarder type stuff, but I like the boxes. I like to keep them. But when it comes to this HasLab stuff, especially Deathsaurus, his box was enormous. I don't know where it's at. I think it's buried behind the in between the gold shelf and that white shelf over there. And I'll just have to do that with that throne if I don't put that source back there. But I want all 3 of these toys to stand next to each other, and I don't have enough. Unfortunately, I don't have enough victory toys to make it look like the full cast. I just don't. I don't know. That'll just be for later. I guarantee they'll sit on some shelves disorganized for a little while until I decide. But until then, I'll just have to think about it. Just turn it over in my brain. But yeah, that's really it for Victory Saber. Like I said, I like it. Love the combination. Super simple, but it doesn't have to be that difficult. Just it's a good toy all around. Good toy all around for its price. Wouldn't pay probably no more than $280 what I would have given for it. But overall, I still like it. It's still a really good toy. But back to like that whole side tangent before I got dug in about prices, my rationality about pricing and whatever. Because I want to do this to talk about a little bit of my starting to like watch some anime and whatnot. But Attack on Titan, really recommend it. It's really long. I got through it in about a week and a half because I'd watch like 10 episodes a day before I went to work, which is like, I'm not even going to think about the math because it'll probably hurt my brain and make me feel bad that I didn't get anything done other than watching a show. But has 92 episodes and then 2 1 hour, one episode is 1 hour, and one episode, the very last episode, is 1.5 hours. So it's more like 90, probably closer to 100 episodes. All like if you were to go time wise, not like chronological, like numerical. It's probably close to 100 episodes, 120 to 25-minute episodes. But in my opinion, it's kind of worth it. The first 8 episodes aren't perfect, but everything after that is amazing. Love all the characters. There's some characters are better than others. I personally, like I said, I gravitated towards Captain Levi, Hanji. I love Misaka. I like Misaka. She's a good character. Dang it. Sasha, the girl with like the maroonish hair that Oz is eating, really liked her character. Rhina, he's a good character, especially going beyond what you think about him. Kenny, really like him as a character. Commander Erevan, absolutely love that guy. I do really like Captain Pixis, the captain of the Garrison Regiment. Really like him. He's a fun character. Really like what he brings to the table when it comes to his episodes. He's not in it a ton, but I love what he offers as as a mature leader. Really like him, and I do like Commandant not Commandant Shaunus, I think, the guy that all the trains the soldiers that before trains all the people to become either the MPs, Garrison Regiment, or the Scouts. He trains all of them. He's like the drill sergeant of their like weird academy, except he doesn't have a drill sergeant hat, unfortunately. I wish he did. Um, but nevertheless, really like his character, like how they end him off. But yeah, Kill la Kill, every character. Really like Ryuko Matoi, like her just like anger about everything. I like Senkens as a character. He doesn't talk very much, but I like him as what he is. Um, love Mako Mankanchoke. She's an amazing character. Definitely feeds into what the show talks about, what the show is about. Really like her character. I love Gamagori, the disciplinary chair. Love his character. Love when he loses to Ryuko Matoi in like episode like 10 or whatever. He tries to kill himself. I love that. Try to commit suicide with a Tonto that he has. I love that. I don't remember his name, but the guy who sews his eyes shut, I cannot remember his name, but I love him, love his character. Um, but it's a really fun show. I personally really like it. It's not amazing, it's not great. But I personally like it. It's a lot of fun. Right now, I'm watching Cowboy Bebop. Classic, I know. And I really like it. It's really fun. Especially coming from the Transformers, where 90-ish% of the Transformers is episodic. There's no overarching story. Like Attack on Titan and Kill la Kill, they're very, very plot heavy. Very almost every episode is dedicated to the plot and moving the story forward. When almost all the shows that I watched from the Transformers or from the Brave series, there's almost no plot. Well, there is a plot, but it's not very overarching. If you missed an episode, you didn't miss much. Like I love Jay Decker. Jay Decker is, aside from Gurren Lagann and Attack on Titan, it's my third favorite show. Well, yeah, third. Unfortunately, as much as I love Jay Decker, it got kicked down by two very peak shows. But I love Jay Decker. I love its episodic content, the way it tells its, not even its story, because it slowly gives hints of its overarching story. But I love the daily, weekly monster story, like this criminal, next episode a different criminal. There's no real thing tying them together. It does tie together, but not really. I just like that content, like especially like G1. G1 isn't a perfect show, but I love how one episode they're doing something different, the next episode they're doing something different. I just love that constant stream of different things. But obviously, a very long, drawn out story is amazing, but I just love that way of storytelling. And Cowboy Bebop is almost exactly like Jay Decker. I haven't finished it yet, but it's slowly giving hints about Jet, Faye, and Spike's backstories, but it's also sprinkling them throughout its regular, just episodic, like content. The way it tells its story, like how they're just catching they're bounty hunters, so they're just catching people that have bounties on their head, and they just happen to have episodes that talk about their pasts and whatnot. And I really do like that. Really like that way of storytelling. It's just very easy to get into because you're not just thrown into a story that you have to pay super close attention to. Like Bionicle and Attack on Titan to me are very similar stories. Not like in premise, but the way they are told is that if you miss one episode or even 1 second, like when I was watching Attack on Titan, I was burning a hole into my TV. Like I could not do anything else because I had to pay that close of attention to names, times, things like that. Same thing with Bionicle. Is if you missed one book, you're done. You don't know what's going on, what the characters are doing. And those stories have the best plots, best characters ever. but it's just kind of hard to stay with, kind of hard to keep moving on. But Attack on Titan and Bionicle, I love because of that. They do it so expertly, is that you don't want to drop it. You want to nail that next episode, that next book. You want to be with it. You want to keep watching it. And that's something that I really love. I think that is a ton. I think that shows to the expertise and level of writing that those two stories have, because they're so expertly done, to where you don't feel bogged down with all the information. You don't feel like I'm done, stop. To me, like, I read the Bionicle series, all the books that are on that shelf. I read all those in probably like 3 months, and that was having to buy each one, you know, used and whatnot. But I read through a ton of them. I probably read through the whole adventures part, like the adventures books of the Toa Metru. Probably read through that in maybe like a month. Um, and for a book series, in my opinion, is pretty good. At least for someone who has like the level of reading, like reading level of like a third grader. Um, but I wanted to continue to just read and read and read and read and read to just continue to grasp and consume the story. Same thing with Attack on Titan. Um, Story was the exact same level. It does unfortunately fall in the same pitfall of Bionicle. A little bit of a spoiler for both Bionicle and Attack on Titan, but once again, they're old enough, they're reputable enough, you can find them easy enough. When they start talking about the people that can turn into Titans on the mainland, which is I already forgot, not Paradis, which is the island that Eren Yeager, Captain Levi, all of them are on. This other island that have regular people plus these Titan shifters on it. Um, it just reminded me heavily of Barra Magna and Aqua Magna from, no, Jungle Magna, I think, because Aqua Magna is where the rest of Bionicle takes place. Barra Magna is Legend Reborn and all Climax and whatnot, and then I think it's like Jungle Magna or something like that. The one that has no stories attached to it, or at least to my knowledge. It just reminded me of that, is that they introduced something like that, that this far off land, this far off planet has the exact same people with a ton more stories to be told in, is introduced at the very last bit. And it gives you that little like craving, like a crumb of what this story could have become even bigger with, you know, more flashbacks, more past events, more storytelling. Like Bionicle could have gone on for another 50 books per another 50 books per planet, just like the adventure, just like the original books. And same thing with Attack on Titan. It could have had another 100 episodes dedicated to the Marley. That's the place. To the Titan shifters in Marley, their experiences, their time, the planning to go over to Paradis and do all that, the planning, all that. That could have been another 50 to 100 episodes in and of itself. But it's okay. And some of those things you don't want to mess with. It creates plot holes. People lose interest because you're retreading ground, or they think you're retreading ground. I personally think that would have been an amazing idea, a cool idea, just like Bionicle. But nevertheless, it's okay, because they're still almost perfect pieces of media on their own. Another thing that I paralleled Attack on Titan to was if Evangelion, and I saw whatever, to anyone who might watch this, rewatch it, whatever, Evangelion, in my opinion, is not as peak as you think. Up until um the up until Unit 3, where I can't remember his name, Shinji's school friend, he's piloting it, and it turns out to be the Angel. The Eva Unit 3 is the Angel, dummy plug, all that sort of stuff, because Shinji doesn't want to kill him. Once again, spoiler for like a 30-year-old anime. Up until then, it's perfect. 1 to whatever episode that is, I love it. But from then on, I start losing it. It starts dumping the whole angel thing, Lilith, Adam, second, third, however many impacts, Gendo trying to revive his wife, Ray is a clone of his wife. And I did not watch End of Ava. I watched all the episodes. I haven't watched End of Ava yet. Fake fan, obviously. Um, but nevertheless, Evangelion should have had 50 episodes instead of 25, in my opinion. It should have told that story across all of it. Like episode 4, they have that little piece of Lilith, I think, in that jar. That's when they should have started breaking that story down, explaining the angels, explaining what Lilith and Adam were. It shouldn't have been episode like 20 out of 25, and they're like, oh yeah, this exists. Dump everything of this iceberg of lore on top of you, like Halo, Attack on Titan, Bionicle levels of lore, and just dumps that all on in front of you in 5 episodes and a movie. I personally didn't like it. I wasn't a big fan of the way they did that. But everything up until then was incredible, and that's the way I saw Attack on Titan. Is that because it has an iceberg level of Evangelion. Um, Maybe a little bit smaller, maybe quite a bit smaller, given what I know of Evangelion, but similar size iceberg of lore, but done much better because it has quadruple the amount of episodes as Evangelion. Just explaining all that it needs to with amazing characters, amazing storytelling, amazing animation. It just does what Evangelion should have done in my eyes perfectly with an equally as depth story that still could be told much more into the future. Um, Evangelion isn't that bad. One of my favorite parts of it is when Ava Unit 1 bursts out of that ball that absorbed Ava Unit 1 and Shinji. And there's blood everywhere. I loved that. That was that's what, in my opinion, took away from the dummy plug ripping apart Ava Unit 3 and Ava Unit 1 going berserk on that one angel that has like the bandages for arms that can like cut things apart with them, and Ava Unit 1 eats it and regenerates human arm with its arm or whatever. Kind of took the shock away, when you already did a huge shock thing like that. 5 episodes before, it kind of takes away from that. It takes away from those 2 instances in my eyes, because you already did that 5 episodes ago, and it was bombastic, and it had so many. It revealed all of the weird, questions like, what are the Evangelions? How did Ava Unit 1 burst out of that ball angel? I can't remember its name, but how did it do that? How? Because those answers were already started, or those questions were already started in episode 2 when it went berserk to save Shinji. But then it tailed off, didn't really ask any of that. But then whatever episode that was, it's like episode 13 is like bang, remember that? And then it's like bang bang. Oh, you already did that whole shock thing. There's probably a reason why they spaced 10 episodes, 10, 13 episodes between first time Ava Unit 1 went berserk to the second time Ava Unit 1 went berserk, to save Shinji, and then you're gonna do it again 2 other times in the span of 5 to 7 episodes. I just wasn't a fan of that. Kind of took me out of the story, kind of took me out of the depth and the feeling that should have been there. In my opinion, I did like episode 26. If you don't watch any of it, just watch episode 26. There's no gore, there's no real fighting. It's just Shinji recreating the world or whatever. I don't really know how Evangelion ends. That's why I probably should have watched End of Ava instead of that episode. But I really like it. I like episode 26, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, before I keep rambling on for like another hour about stuff that doesn't even matter or pertain to Victory Saber, or Transformers in general, that's all I have to say. So, till next time, see ya.